Hello everybody and welcome back to part 2 of this epic battle. And right now we're going over Luther Strode. And I do have to make notice of one thing. The writer of the series has actually made statements about the character. Therefore we have to read the statements and look at them. Anyway, let's get started with those. So in the writer's own words, in terms of speed and strength and agility, he thinks of him as roughly twice of what the world record holders are capable of, and that he's not fast enough to actually dodge a bullet at point blank range, and whenever he does do it, it's him using body language. Okay, so roughly twice the record holders. Okay, let's take a look at that. And I do have to mention one other thing. He has also stated that Luther Strode cannot lift a car over his head, but he can flip one, but it's going to be very difficult for him. Okay, so the world record for the deadlift is 1,000 pounds, roughly. So we double that, we get 2,000 pounds. But now then let's take into the car thing that Luther did. Let's look at the weight of an average car today. Well, there we have it. It's 2 tons, 4,000 pounds. However, he did say Luther could flip one, but he could not lift one over his head. So let us put Luther at around 3,000 pounds max that he can lift. Sounds fair to you? Sounds fair to me. 1.5 tons is his limit, or 2 tons if he could exert himself. Now let's look at the speed, and it's held by none other than Usain Bolt, who ran at almost 28 miles per hour. Therefore, if we roughly estimate that, Luther Strode can run at a max speed of 60 should he go all out. Okay, so we have his limits. So yes, there we have it. His limits are 2 tons at most and 60 miles per hour going full speed. Okay, doesn't sound too impressive, but let's just look at the things he's done. He's karate chopped 2 armed guards in half with his bare hands. He was able to catch and grab Jack the Ripper by the feet and then slam him down to cause this massive shockwave. He was also able to break the chains and bonds that can hold other method users, therefore making him one of the strongest ones. He was also able to rip the arm off the librarian. I know it's a stupid name, but this guy was no joke. He was a complete beast. But still, he managed to rip the arm off that guy, so nothing to gawk at there. He also threw this tree hard enough for it to splinter. This requires a lot of force, so I'm honestly really having to doubt that that author knows what force is to say that his most limit is just twice that of a world record hurdle, because even then they can't do this shit. But apparently he can, despite not being able to. But we have to take the author's word for it because, you know, he's the writer. And my absolute favorite strength feat he has is punching through a steel door and still have enough force to completely splatter a human's head like jelly. Again, this requires more than 2 tons of force to do, but again, it still must be only 2 tons. So I guess this is a lot of exaggeration, and humans are just very squishy in this universe. Okay. Anyway, let's get on to his speed. He grabbed a gun out of a guy's hand so fast he couldn't even shoot, and then broke the gun and took it apart. Pretty fast. He's also effortlessly dodgeable. I'm just kidding, we already know his max speed's like 60. All he's doing here is just using another ability so he knows where they're going to be shooting. I'll get onto that ability soon. Actual speed that we can actually register is right here when this guy looks back to see him there, and then when he turns around, Luther's there because he used a big burst of it to get there. So, yeah, that's him going full 60, I'm assuming. He has also used his great speed and agility to burst up these steel steps, even breaking them in the process to catch up to another method user. He's even used his power and speed to leap a great distance to go fight Jack the Ripper and seemingly break the sound barrier. However, he didn't because he can't. Man, these comics exaggerate so much. Okay, you know what? Just look at this. You, the viewer, I want you to look at this picture and tell me, Doesn't this look like he is dodging the bullets? The upper panel, he is swerving from side to side, killing people, then running straight at them and still killing everyone without getting a shot. It looks like he's dodging, but apparently not. Great. But enough about speed, let's get on to his durability. He took a punch from this colossal guy, which sent him flying through tons of trees, and he got right back up with little injury. He also hit the ground so hard it caused these shockwaves that sent the tiles going all over the place and all wrong. But again, I feel like this is just kind of exaggerated for the book like the other events, but this is still a very impressive durability feat. Another is the time he actually did get shot by a handgun, but the bullets got stopped by how tough his muscles were. That's right, the bullets got lodged in his muscle. That's a lot of durability there. Of course, other bullets have gone through him, so it can be a bit of a 50-50 street. He survived a fight with Jack the Ripper to the point where his hands were stabbed. He was beaten bloody. And I kid you not, he had his throat ripped out. Yeah, Jack the Ripper bit and tore his throat out. However, Luther survived because Luther can also heal. However, he has to consciously make certain injuries heal. Like when he was disemboweled fighting the librarian, he had to forcibly heal himself by using some of that mind over matter kind of stuff. So yes, certain injuries he himself has to command it to heal, like when he got his throat bitten out, he healed that up. However, certain injuries are very hard to heal and require a lot of concentration to do that. Certain ones just heal themselves up, like normal stab wounds and bullet wounds. But big injuries do take a lot more effort and can be a bit tedious to try to heal. Oh yeah, and fun fact, when he was disemboweled, he used his own guts to snap the librarian's neck. I'm not kidding. This took a lot, goddamn. Another thing he has is he has learned to adapt to pressure point combat. He doesn't know how to do it himself, but he knows how to counter it. Because in certain fights when he had his arm broken and split open by Jack the Ripper, he then got hit with pressure points, which then subdued him and he was captured. Though later in the stories, he was learned how to mentally overpower those to regain consciousness. Like when he fought Cain. Cain hit him with a pressure point and then was going to go kill these two, and then he got right back up to save the day. However, certain method users can give him problems. Say if they're stronger than him or they have distinct skills over him, he has a very hard time fighting them. For instance, when he fought Cain, he even admitted he could not defeat him, as Cain just had him outmatched in every way. He was more skilled, he was more intelligent, he definitely had a power advantage, and he even had a speed advantage, I think. But overall, he just admitted he couldn't beat Cain, and he had to rely on his friends to help kill him. However, Luther does possess an ability that can help out in those kinds of situations. I don't have a picture for that because when I tried to show it, it crashed my thing last time, and I ain't doing that after 8 minutes. So, he has an ability called precog. This lets him see countless options that the enemy might take and see all of their possible movements, including the ones that are most likely. This lets him predict attacks and then try to act on those to gain an advantage, theoretically be a step ahead. However, in later fights, he hasn't used them that much. It was more or less something he used at the beginning. Later in the series, though, he used his precog abilities to keep others from using their precog abilities, but overall, he doesn't really seem to use them that much at the end, since he keeps getting hit a lot at the end, as you can see with his arms being all bloody. If he used them a lot more, then he wouldn't be like this. Another thing to know about them is they don't tell him exactly what's going to happen. It tells him things that could happen. He must physically decide on what specific action to take. So he might choose wrong and then get punished for it. I'm pretty sure that's what happens a lot, as he likes to fight one step ahead. The writer even says this. Here, people thought he could see up to 1,000 moves ahead, and the writer said he doesn't see so much 1,000 moves. He can see all the moves they could make in any moment and which one is likely, but basically always one move ahead. He is smart, so when he fights somebody, he can get a feel for how they will eventually react. Which is good, even though later fights he doesn't seem to use this that much. Like I said, with Jack the Ripper, Jack messed him up. So yes, Jack the Ripper and others have been able to extremely hurt and even defeat him because he wasn't using any precog abilities or he was just too involved in the fight. Another thing is, while he is a very skilled fighter, most of the time he prefers to be up close and personal and can kind of feel like a brawler at times, which kind of suits him. However, he has also used precog when he was fighting these two other method users. He used this in order to trick one to think that he was dead, and then immediately trick the other into killing them by moving out of the way to make it happen, then swung the torso to knock the other one out, and I believe at the end of it all, they died. And since their eyes are black and red, that means they're using precog. When they're normal eyes, they're normal, but when they're that color, they're using their abilities. And that is Luther Strode. He is one of the most deadly humans that there has ever been. Now, sadly, because of the statements of the writer, he was nerfed a lot, and very depowered based on that statement, since none of his things that seem to go beyond that really mean much anymore. His speed blitzing and all that, not really all that impressive anymore. But still, much greatness from this guy, I mean. He's still very impressive. Luther Strode is definitely someone not to be messed with. Anyway, tune in next time for the fight, and an explanation as to why one wins over the other.